Welcome to the 16th episode of LEWS podcast. Today we're diving into something truly enjoyable, how to learn English using humor. We've been sifting through a fantastic guide and some other materials that promise to make language learning easy and genuinely fun.
That's right. A lot of people believe learning a new language has to be a very serious, grammar-heavy process, but our deep dive really highlighted how laughter can be an incredibly powerful tool.
Yeah, like a secret weapon.
Kind of. We'll explore why humor works so well, unpack different types of English humor you'll encounter, and, give you a simple step-by-step plan to start using it yourself.
Okay, so our mission for you, our listener, is to discover how jokes, funny stories, even silly cartoons can make English vocabulary stick in your mind, reduce any learning stress, and help you sound more natural when you speak.
Exactly. Imagine learning without even feeling like you're studying.
So we're talking about learning English with humor, and honestly, for many, that sounds almost too simple. What did our deep dive reveal about why this approach is, well, so effective?
It's fascinating how much the research backs this up. One of the key reasons humor helps is that it makes learning incredibly memorable.
Memorable. Okay. How so?
Well, when something makes you laugh, your brain actually tags that information with positive emotion. This emotional encoding makes it far more likely you'll remember those words or phrases later.
Right, like it stands out more.
Exactly. Plus, humor is a huge part of real-life conversations, so it helps you understand how people truly communicate every day.
You know, what truly captured my attention in our exploration was how much science actually supports this. It's not just a hunch, is it?
Not at all.
Our brains seem hardwired to retain funny things more effectively than, say, just a list of rules from a textbook.
Precisely. When you're enjoying something, your brain becomes incredibly active and engaged. This active state helps you not only learn new words and phrases, but also, process them more deeply.
Ah,
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, humor significantly reduces stress.
that's a big one for language learners.
It really is.
Yeah.
And reducing stress, in turn, boosts your confidence. When you're relaxed and confident, you're much more open to experimenting and trying new things with the language.
Makes sense.
Not to mention, it's a brilliant way to pick up slang, common idioms, and those natural ways of speaking that you simply won't find in standard textbooks. It's truly a holistic way to learn.
So if we're convinced that laughter is a powerful tool, where do we even begin? Our deep dive really breaks down the different flavors of English humor we should be looking out for, doesn't it?
It certainly does, yeah. It helps you get a feel for the variety out there. First up, we have wordplay, often called puns.
Puns. Love them or hate them.
Right, these are jokes that play with words that have double meanings or sound alike but mean different things. A classic example we found is, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana.
Oh yeah, because flies means two different things.
Exactly. It's clever because flies is a verb in the first part and a noun in the second, shows word flexibility.
That time flies. Pun always makes me grin. It really shows how flexible English words can be. Then we have simple jokes, right?
Yep. Usually short, funny sentences or questions that end with a punchline.
Like the one in the guide. Why don't skeletons fight? They don't have the guts.
Precisely. It uses guts for courage, but also, the physical insides, that double meaning again.
Got it. What else?
The materials we reviewed also highlight cartoons and comics. These are visual jokes, a funny drawing, maybe with a few words.
Good for visual learners.
Definitely. And then there are funny story short, amusing tales you can read or listen to, and of course, a big one, sitcoms and TV shows.
Like Friends or Mr. Bean.
Exactly. Friends, Mr. Bean. The humor there comes from dialogue, funny situations, character interactions. Fantastic for hearing English spoken naturally.
And it also talks about sarcasm and irony. That's when you say the opposite of what you mean. Often to be funny. For example, if it's pouring rain and someone says, "Oh, what lovely weather," that's sarcasm. I know for many learners, myself included when I was learning other languages, that can be one of the trickiest types.
Absolutely. It relies a lot on tone of voice and context. And the insights we gathered strongly advise. Don't worry if you don't get every joke at first.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Yeah, humor is deeply cultural, and truly understanding it takes time and practice. It's completely normal not to understand everything immediately.
So patience is key.
Definitely. Which raises an important question for you, the listener. What's your very first simple step to start bringing humor into your English learning today?
Our deep dive gives us a clear path, starting with simple, achievable actions. It's not about becoming a comedian overnight, right?
Not at all. It's about using humor as a friendly, effective learning tool. So the first step, step one, start with simple jokes.
Simple jokes. Okay. Like for kids.
Pretty much. The guide suggests beginning with jokes for kids or very easy puns because they're designed to be straightforward. For example, what has four wheels and flies? A garbage truck.
Ah, another flies pun.
Yep. Plays on the two meanings again. You can easily find these on websites like shortfunny.com or just search YouTube for easy English jokes. Loads of stuff out there.
That makes perfect sense for building comfort. Then what's next? Step 2. Watch funny English videos.
Right. For cartoons, our material points to things like Peppa Pig or Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean has very little dialogue, though.
True, which makes the humor very visual and easier to understand sometimes, especially for beginners. Peppa Pig has simple language.
Okay. And for sitcoms?
Popular choices like Friends, The Big Bang Theory, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine have clear dialogue usually. The smart way to watch is with English subtitles first.
To connect the sounds to the word.
Exactly, and then challenge yourself. Try watching without them to really practice your listening skills.
Good tip. Okay, step 3.
Step 3. Learn vocabulary through humor. As you watch or read funny content, actively write down new words.
Don't just let them wash over you.
Right. Focus on words that make you laugh, new slang you hear, and common phrases that keep popping up. A great example of an idiom we found is, it's not rocket science, it means. It's easy, or it's not complicated. You'll often hear it when someone is saying something is simple to understand or do.
Useful phrase.
Okay.
And the last step.
And finally, step 4. Practice speaking with jokes. This is where you bring everything together.
Actually using it.
Yes. Tell simple jokes to your friends or people you practice English with. It's a low-pressure way to try out new vocabulary and practice your pronunciation.
And maybe get a laugh.
Hopefully. You can also join English clubs or online groups. Start with joke questions maybe, like, why did the math book look sad?
Uh-oh, why?
Because it had too many problems.
Ah, okay. That's pretty good. It's a fun way to practice question forms in simple sentences.
Exactly.
This all sounds fantastic in theory, but where do our listeners actually go to find all this funny English content? Our deep dive uncovered some really practical resources, didn't it?
We certainly did. For jokes, you can explore websites like pun.me, pun.me, LaughGaff, LAFFFGAFF, and ESL Kids Stuff. These are full of various jokes, easy to browse.
Okay, good starting points. And for videos?
For videos, check out YouTube channels like English Addict with Mr. Steve. He makes learning quite fun. Also, BBC Learning English, especially the English We Speak series.
Oh, I know that one. They explain idioms.
Yes, and often funny ones. It's brilliant for that. And Learn English with TV series is another channel. It uses humorous clips from popular shows to help you learn.
We even found some specific podcast recommendations, which are excellent for listening practice on the go, right?
Absolutely. Luke's English podcast is suggested for British humor and general learning tips so you get that specific cultural flavor.
Good for understanding British English.
Definitely. And the English We Speak podcast is mentioned again for its short, funny idiom explanations, easy to digest.
And apps. Any apps mentioned?
Yes. For apps, Duolingo Stories and Memrise are highlighted because they often weave humor directly into their lessons, making the exercises much more engaging.
So lots of options there.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it truly shows that you have so many accessible options right at your fingertips to make learning enjoyable. You don't need expensive books or classes necessarily. You can use everyday content.
What are some key tips for beginners diving into this world of humorous English? It can feel a bit overwhelming at first, maybe, to try and actually get a joke in a new language.
Totally understandable. Our materials offer some really practical advice. First, and we've sort of said this before, don't worry if you don't understand every single joke.
Just let it go sometimes.
Pretty much. As we've said, humor is cultural, and it simply takes time to develop that understanding. It's important, though, to look up new words or cultural references that you don't understand.
So don't just ignore everything you don't get.
Right. That's how you learn and expand your knowledge. Also, rewatch funny videos. Repetition really helps new phrases and words stick in your memory.
That emphasis on repetition is interesting. For some, rewatching might feel a bit tedious, maybe. Does the guide offer any advice on keeping that engaging, or perhaps balancing it?
Well, the spirit of it is really to keep it fun. So if rewatching feels like work, switch it up, watch a new funny video, or try a different type of humor. Read some comics instead, maybe.
Keep it fresh.
Exactly. The idea is to keep enjoying it. Another excellent tip is to try to retell jokes in your own words.
Ooh, that sounds challenging but useful.
It really helps you practice speaking and forming sentences naturally. And practice with friends, even if it feels silly at first, your confidence will grow when you share a laugh.
Makes sense. Any other tips?
Yeah, a fantastic, simple idea. Keep a funny English notebook. Just a small notebook where you write down all the jokes, funny phrases, and new words you learn.
Like a personal humor dictionary.
Kind of. It helps consolidate your learning.
This also raises an important question. Is humor the same everywhere? When you're learning English, you'll encounter different types of humor depending on where the English speaker is from, right?
Absolutely. It became very clear from our deep dive that humor varies significantly across cultures. British humor is often described as dry.
Dry, meaning
Meaning it's subtle, understated, not always obvious, and often quite sarcastic.
okay.
American humor tends to use more puns and funny situations. It can be a bit more direct, maybe more exaggerated sometimes.
Right.
Australian humor is typically laid back and playful, often involving friendly teasing or taking the mickey, as they might say.
Okay, so different styles.
Definitely. So idioms and jokes can certainly change from country to country. The key is to stay curious and explore these differences. It's a vital part of understanding the culture behind the language.
And for those who want to push themselves further, once you're feeling more confident, our resources suggest exploring advanced humor later on. What does that involve?
Yeah, this could include things like stand-up comedy,
Which can be really fast.
very fast and full of cultural references, so definitely more advanced. Also funny podcasts or even full movies like Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, or Shrek. These use more complex humor and faster dialogue.
A great next step when you're ready for a bigger challenge.
Exactly. And, the material even gives a simple plan to get started quickly, which is perfect if you want a clear roadmap.
It does. A 30-day plan. Can you walk us through that briefly?
Sure. It outlines tasks for a 30-day period. For instance, in the first 5 days, you could aim to learn maybe 2 simple jokes daily from those websites we mentioned, just to get into the habit.
Okay, manageable.
Then, perhaps from day 6 to 10, watch some funny cartoons with subtitles. Next, from day 11 to 15, actively note down, say, 5 new funny words or phrases you heard.
Using that funny English notebook.
Exactly. From day 16 to 20, the plan suggests practicing telling jokes to your friends or language partners, then watching sitcom clips without subtitles for days 21 to 25.
Upping the difficulty.
Right. And finally, from day 26 to 30, maybe even recording yourself telling a funny story in English. It's a clear, manageable roadmap that builds your skills step by step.
That sounds really practical. So what does this all mean for you, our listener? Learning English with humor is so much more than just, a fun activity.
Absolutely. It genuinely makes vocabulary stick in your mind longer. It helps your pronunciation sound more natural because you're mimicking real speech patterns.
Makes your conversations more interesting too, probably.
Definitely. And ultimately, it makes you more confident and relaxed when speaking, which is a huge barrier for many learners.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really shows us that learning a language isn't just about endless rules and grammar exercises in a book, is it?
Not at all. It's about connecting with the culture, understanding how real people speak, and, most importantly, truly enjoying the process. That enjoyment factor is key for long-term motivation.
And remember, as the guide points out, even native English speakers don't get every single joke. Humor is often subjective, and that's perfectly fine. Don't feel bad if something goes over your head.
Exactly. It happens to everyone.
We truly hope this deep dive encourages you to add more laughter to your English learning journey. Think about this. If laughter truly is the best medicine, could it also be one of the fastest, most enjoyable ways to fluency?
It's a great thought.
We encourage you to pick one of the joke types or resources we mentioned. Maybe watch a funny cartoon tonight, or learn one simple joke and just start exploring the funny side of English. You might be surprised how much you learn while having a fantastic time.